Hey guys, what's up? Lewin here at Garageband and Beyond. Welcome back for part 3 on how to mix a hard rock instrumental. Really, this will work for any hard rock, heavy metal song, these basic lessons, but there are no vocals on the song that we're working on, so we're calling it an instrumental because that's what it is. So today we're going to look at the drums and we're going to talk about how to get your drums sounding awesome, how to make them sound powerful, getting the dynamics right, getting the fills to sound cool and right. So let's dig right into it, okay? The song we're working on now is a song from a client of mine. Don't forget, I do mix songs for people. Check out the mixing inquiries page at Garageband and Beyond. But anyway, this is a song that he sent me. Mario, what's up, buddy? Anyway, these are the drums, and let's just hear the drums. Pretty epic heavy metal drum sound there. Okay, so let's talk about what the drums are first. So this is Jesse playing, well, funk rock is supposedly his genre of choice. He's using the heavy drums, and if we go in here, yep, we're still using them. Good, we're not using easy drums or anything. Basic EQing and compression. If you haven't watched the video I made on how to sort of get your drum sounding awesome, I made a drummer video specifically for the auto drummer in GarageBand, which has a lot more detail. Today we're going to sort of gloss over some of those things, but talk about some of the tricks that Mario did in this particular song that makes it extra cool and things I haven't shown you in the past, okay? So anyway, let's take a look at some of the plugins that I'm using, okay? So as always, I'm using the Slate Digital plugins. I love the Everything bundle from Slate Digital. This is not a paid endorsement. Anyway, these EQs are doing a little bit of work, not much right here. This is just to notch out the 200K, the 200 Hertz rather, sorry. I'm bringing it about we'll call it 1.5 dB. You know, if you are a beginner engineer, 200 Hertz is one of those just ranges that you just always want to, not always, but most of the times on most instruments, vocals, guitars, drums, bass, I find myself going straight to that 200 and just pulling it out. You know what I mean? It's like one of the most common frequencies in the EQ that is just sort of unnecessary. So just remember that 200, if you think your mixes, your drums are sounding too fat, too much, look in that 200 Hertz range. That's why I always go to it. The other thing is I am here around 80 Hertz, we're going to call that, and it's up a little bit under a dB just to help. So when I pull the 200 out, especially with this particular EQ, the shape of the EQ will also pull out a little bit below the 200. So this is mostly to sort of compensate for that. Now down here on the high pass filter rather, I have it, typically up to 50, which is where I always put stuff, at least to begin with, and I find that it works well. So if you have a high pass filter, just put it up to 50 Hertz and we'll start from there. Now the compressor, obviously this is going to be a big part of it. You're going to watch this compressor is jumping really quickly. So I'm really using it to tame some of the kick drum and some of the snare drum. So let's just watch it. Right, so what you should notice is that needle on the VU meter is dropping between the notes, right? So you really do just see it catching the kicks and snare, and I'll play it a little bit just so you can watch that again. Right, so the compressor is acting really, really quickly, and I'm using it, like I said, mostly to tame some of the extraneous hits on the the extraneous energy in the snare and the kick drum. Threshold, -20, and the ratio I have at 4, and I'm trying not to reduce it more than 3 dB. It does occasionally go up to 5, I know. No big deal there. But anyway, fast release and medium to slower on the attack, but just because I don't want to capture all of it. Then last down here, this is one of the free plugins that they used to give away, the Revival preamp thing. I use this for a little bit of thickness, a little bit of brightness. I will turn this on and off because it's kind of one of the secret magical plugins from Slate Digital that I use pretty often. Not on everything, but pretty often because it's just good. So I'm just going to turn this on and off. Hopefully you could hear that difference. It just sort of makes the overall drum mix a little bit warmer. That's what I'm doing down here minimally. Again, I'm trying to make up for some of the EQ that I'm pulling out, right? This thing works more as a colorization over the entire drum mix more than it does in EQ. It just adds a little bit, of thickness to both the kick and the snare, which is kind of something I was looking for here. And then the shimmer is just the high end, and that is really just so I make sure that those cymbals, those crash cymbals that are just sort of continuous, are nice, and I don't want them to be shrill, but I want them to be like, a little bit on the aggressive side. I usually don't add a lot of high end to cymbals, but in heavy metal, hard rock kind of stuff, if you have that long driving crash cymbal going, you want to make sure that it's really really nice and bright, and not too bright, but bright, brighter than I would say most cymbals, especially if you're doing like regular rock or pop or stuff like that. They're always going to be a little louder, and they're always going to be a little bit brighter in this kind of music. Now, so that's it, basic stuff for the mix. We're using Auto Drummer, so you really don't have to do a lot. Don't forget, if you do remove these auto plugins, right, so the compressor and the EQ, you get some new features popping up over here, right? So if I turn these off, these sections just changed. Now I have a kick dampen and a snare dampen when I didn't have that when those two were in there. Little secret for you, Garageband people. There are features that are hidden in the drummer. Anyway, so now, last thing I want to talk about is one of the cool things. Well, he did two cool things in this, I think. So let's go down here. So there are some fills that he created, or not, I don't know what you call these, like sort of bridges, gaps. He filled in some gaps with his own drum parts, which are right here in the green below the Auto Drummer track. So let's just listen to those. Right? So basically, he just wanted to make sure that he was getting those hits, right? So do remember, you guys, you can play these drums yourself. If you have a keyboard, like a regular keyboard, computer keyboard, or an actual MIDI controller, like one of these MIDI keyboards. This one is the MIDI controller. You can do this yourself, okay? It's as easy as just creating a new track. You're going to tell it to play the drum kits. You want it to use the same drum kit that you're using, and then you simply play what you want. Now, one thing he didn't do, which I'm going to show you that I like to do, since all of these parts are, they're edited properly, they're in the right locations, exactly where I need them to be, I can grab all of these guys right here. Check this out. I'm going to do that and grab all of these, and then I'm going to bring them up into the track, right? So now they're here. And one of the good things about doing it this way is that you don't have to run like your heavy, like the Slate Digital plugins multiple times. If you don't have to, a lot of you guys don't have as much RAM as my computer has or whatever. If you find that your computer's slowing down a lot, it's because you're using too many plugins, and it's becoming taxing on your CPU. So this is one of those ways that you can make your project more efficient, both for your workflow and also for the computer's, efficiency overall. So now, that's it. They're just in this track. Right? Super easy. So don't forget, you play your own drum parts if you need them to be played, and then just drag them back into the drummer track, and that's where they will be happily. Now, the last thing I want to show you, because this is something that I haven't shown on my channel before, or even in that drummer video, which is a way to extend your drum fills. Okay, so the drum fills, you know, if you've worked with the auto drummer, tend to span maximum over 1 bar, you know, which can be limiting if you wanted something longer, something way more epic. Typically, you can't get that just by doing a normal cut at between like the verse and the chorus, right? What Mario did, which was super cool, basically he just edited it more, and in sort of not awkward spots, but relatively, you know, spots where the machine, where the computer thinking, it wouldn't have intuitively dropped fills in these sections, if that makes sense to you. So by adding these extra cuts right here, so, you know, like right here on the 61, this would be the normal cut where, you know, between a verse and a chorus, and the fill would normally basically live here. But as you can see, the fill really starts all the way back here. Here's a big moment with some crashes, and then another little fill, not just a 2 beats fill, and then we're back into a regular drum pattern. So let's listen to this. I mean, it's as easy as that, you guys. So, I mean, I can just show you, you know, basically what he did was, let's say he probably pulled it this direction. I'll just show you what I think he did. Okay, so there's the single cut. Now, we're just going to add a cut here with a Command T, bam, and then we're going to come back here another 2 beats and hit it again. Command T. Oh, look at that. It's exactly the same. So there it is. Those are the fills. And so you can sort of drop, you know, don't forget where you drop edits, where you make a cut. Anything past that cut's going to get some sort of a crash symbol. And those are the kinds of things you just, you know, whatever. Super easy to remember, that kind of stuff. But anywhere where you make these cuts, the auto drummer is going to see that as a transition between sections. So sometimes you have to sort of work around it a little bit to get these sections or your fills to be longer. So that's it. Just adding a couple more cuts will do that for you. And I think that's basically it. This is a nice quick video. I'm glad you guys are enjoying this other series. I know I've, you know, been making them more often, and I'm glad you guys like it. Please find me on Facebook or here, you know, leave comments here, because I'm here all the time and I respond to comments as fast as I can. And I have a Patreon page, which I'm really trying to get people to help support the channel, because I am a struggling YouTuber. Ad revenue is on the constant decline. Even though I keep making new videos, it doesn't make much sense. But anyway, yeah, please find my Patreon page if you'd like to support the channel. That would mean the world to me, and I would really, really appreciate it. Patreon.com/GarageBand and beyond. And if you want to mix stuff, me too mix stuff, garagebandandbeyond.com, mixing inquiries page. Otherwise, check out all these other videos, and you guys have a fabulous weekend. I will talk to you soon. Peace.